This conversation and episode of A Relatable Journey, in my mind, was the best conversation I've ever had with a guest. Jesi Stracham let it out. I mean, we talked about her desire to commit suicide at a point. We talked about the conversation that she had with Jesus the day before she was in a motorcycle crash that took the use of her legs away. She's now in a wheelchair. It's powerful and it's up and down. It's emotional. So I'm curious what you guys think about some of the things we touched on. So please leave a comment and reach out to either Jesi or me, because I love good conversation. But for now, enjoy this episode of A Relatable Journey.
I'd been an atheist, so I believed in absolutely nothing. It's like, there's no God. This is all crap. I flew over the SUV, completely crushed my chest. My ribs punctured my lungs, nicked my spinal cord. Every single frustration of what's happened to you hits you like a ton of bricks. And you're just like, I can't do this. There's no way. I mean, in reality, I'm incredibly blessed. And that gratitude and recognizing that is what keeps me moving and keeps carrying me, even on my worst days.
Jesi Stracham, first of all, thanks for coming in and doing this, and I absolutely love the hoodie today.
You know, I have to represent this amazing country we live in. It gives us, it's the land of opportunity, right?
Indeed it is. I mean, you found that out big time. So first of all, before we get into like your story, just how you been, what's going on, and what's new with you?
It's been a whirlwind. I'm going back to work, getting a full-time job, so that's definitely going to be a transition, going from working for yourself to working for someone else. But we're growing Wheel With Me Fitness, which is a fitness platform for wheelchair users specifically. And we have some really big things in the work, including launching an app very soon. Wow. We do nutrition tracking to help people dial in their nutrition. We have a support group. It's just turning into something incredible.
Okay, so let's get kind of into your story. And for a lot of people that don't know, I had you on Fox Charlotte, where I work here in town, and your story blew me away. And we'll get to one particular part, what blew me away, in a little bit here on the podcast on A Relatable Journey. But let's go back to January 2015 and kind of what happened. And you can see on my notes here, I kept writing January 2015, the accident. And then the more I thought about this, like, it wasn't an accident. Like, nothing was an accident the way this all happened. Now, people colloquially call it an accident, even though it probably wasn't, and they'll learn that as we tell this story. So let's go back to 2015, January, and what happened.
So we're going to go to January 17th, 2015. I was saved by our Lord. I was at a friend's grandmother's funeral, and the pastor was speaking, and I just felt this calmness come over me from head to toe. And I knew that everything was going to be okay. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, it's going to be Granny's passing. And up until that point, I'd been an atheist. So I believed in absolutely nothing. I was like, there's no God. This is all crap. And then
Were you like verbally against it, like posting like God is, yeah, you know what I mean?
I never
like the out loud atheist.
Yeah, no, I was never like super out loud about it. I just, whenever we'd had conversation, I'm like, I don't know how you people believe in this crap. Like, it's all crap. No way.
So how did you get there? Like, were you raised as an atheist, or were you kind of like,
no,
whatever?
I was raised Catholic.
Really? That didn't last
That's
long.
probably what did it.
It's those rules and the shame that they put on you.
It's the shame. And it's like, you know, humans make mistakes. That's what we're here for. And I had a huge misconception between making mistakes and that, you know, Jesus died for our sins and that God forgives. And so I never really considered that side of faith. And I was just like, no, there's nothing. It's all crap. And then I was just sitting there, and I remember just feeling I was washed in calmness and that everything was going to be okay. And I'm like, it's going to be fine. Everything's good. Granny's going to be good. And again, that was the moment. And then the next day.
So you think in that moment, you're like, all right, everything's going to be fine. Granny's gone. Like, everything's going to be okay, though, right?
Right.
That's the calmness that you're feeling and thinking it's about.
Right. And then the next day, I'm in a life-changing motorcycle accident. We were coming down Brookshire, coming towards Charlotte, just got off the 85 ramp, and we started going, and this woman just was coming in really hot. She was making a U-turn, and she wasn't slowing down. And I'm like, oh, crap, we're not slowing down. Oh, crap, we're about to wreck.
Oh, gosh.
And so it was like slow motion in the moment, but it happened so fast. The woman made a U-turn in front of the motorcycle. The driver of the bike hit the back passenger door, went through the car. I flew over the SUV. completely crushed my chest. My ribs punctured my lungs, nicked my spinal cord. I have a traumatic brain injury, and I coded twice and had to be resuscitated. And
That's
so
it?
That's it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Keep going. I mean, my goodness.
I was in the hospital. I don't really remember the first week. I was kind of knocked out. They had to wait 2 days before they could do my back surgery for me to even be stable enough. I didn't realize the severity of it until I was getting a tube shoved down my throat while I was awake. And they're like, yeah, your lungs just aren't stable. I'm a week in the hospital, and they're like, yeah, we can't keep you stable. So I was literally awake, and they intubated me. Had that for 4 days. That didn't work out. Then they shoved a suction up my nose into my lungs 5 times in one day. That was a lot.
I don't know what's more painful, the wreck or this.
It was the whole hospital stay. I mean, my care team was awesome. I was at Atrium Health in Charlotte.
Okay.
Great team. But then finally I was like, all right, trach me. So I got the hole in my neck. And that was when things really were able to start for me, because it was like, all right, now I'm on the mend. My lungs are starting to heal. Now let's see what this life is going to look like. And the first thing I did was join Facebook support groups. And I just literally asked people, I said, hey, I'm a T4 paraplegic. What's my life going to look like?
So this is one of those instances where social media is a positive.
Yes.
Okay.
It really was. And it was cool because there were so many comments of wheelchair users just doing incredible things, from hiking, camping, rock climbing, mountain biking, water skiing. And I'm like, whoa, I can still do that? What?
So how long did it take you I imagine, now maybe I'm entirely wrong, when you're lying in bed and you're like, maybe you go through a point where I don't want to live like this. I don't want life like this. This isn't who I am. Like, I'm at it. I don't know if you had a faith at that particular moment, or if it developed to like getting on Facebook and being like, I can live my life normally.
So at some point when I coded, I saw my grandmother, and she told me it wasn't my time. I couldn't stay with her, and she couldn't stay with me. And I had things to do and people to get back to. And that is the only thing that kept me alive early on. In the hospital, you don't really think about it. In rehab, you don't really think about it. But when you get home and you're the only one in the house and you're alone in your own thoughts in the quiet, or you fall on the floor and you can't get yourself back in your wheelchair, every single frustration of what's happened to you hits you like a ton of bricks. And you're just like, I can't do this. There's no way. And I just held on to those words that my grandmother said to me. At some point, I'm guessing when I coded, because my grandmother passed when I was 6 years old. So
Wow.
I just held on to that. I'm like, there's got to be a bigger purpose. There's got to be a bigger purpose. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, my first year of injury, I partied. I lived, definitely was more reckless than I was before getting paralyzed. And I kept getting infections in my bladder, and I'm like, something's got to give. I've got to be a better person. There's a reason for this. I need to just see what this life has to offer. And so I really got involved with the local adaptive sports program here in Charlotte called ASAP. And I literally tried every adaptive sport under the sun. I've competed in nationals for wheelchair MX, which is taking your wheelchair to the skate park. I've done water skiing, hand cycling, on-road and off-road. I was on the national developmental team for wheelchair curling for 3 years. I was trying to go to the Paralympics, but then it's very time consuming.
Yeah, I imagine that training's a bit much.
Right. And because you have to be on the ice, 5 days a week. And then the mental side of it. And I was still very immature in my injury. At the time of this recording, I mean, I'm 7 years post-injury. So I'm starting to mature. I'm finding my path, figuring out where I'm going. And that's the biggest thing, is we get so caught up in the current moment of life that we don't realize that, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, our life could look completely different. It's just, we are the sum of our habits. And that's a realization that I've kind of come to in the last 2-3 years, really since COVID. The pandemic forces you to really take a look at,
right?
How am I spending my day? What am I spending my day on? What is my time? And so I got really intentional. And honestly, when I got out of the hospital, I started traveling. Like 2 weeks later, I was at the Boston Marathon. Took a flight. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like, going to the Boston Marathon as a spectator. And I literally hit the ground rolling. And so when the pandemic happened, that's when I really addressed what had happened to me and my demons and the sadness.
So what were your demons? What were you battling that you needed faith to beat?
My self-worth. there's a stigma in society about disabled people. There's no hiding it.
Sure.
And my goal is to break that stigma because we're completely capable. I experience it anytime I'm in public. Oh, do you need help getting your wheelchair together? Oh, can I hold this for you?
So
and I'm like,
how do you differentiate someone like being nice and like asking like, do you need help versus, I'm not dead. I can do this,
it's always when people go out of their way. People, that person that comes running out of nowhere and it's like, where'd you come from? Literally. And my favorite is if I'm rolling in somewhere that has a door that you have to pull to open. And somebody's literally like past me in the parking lot and then they come running out of nowhere to come and open that door. I'm like, what do people think? Am I going to just sit here and wait? Like, I am crippled. Come help me. No, it's not the way it works. We have to learn to be independent. And a lot of us are proud. Like I'm personally proud of my independence because I worked dang hard to get to where I'm at.
You've earned where you are versus I would say someone like me, blessed, healthy, I've remained healthy, and I take it for granted. I have no doubt that I take it for granted because it's not something I ever think about. I know I wake up and I'm good every day. Whereas someone like you've had to earn and work hard to get back to your independence. So I'm sure you don't take it for granted ever. Sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it could always be worse. I have full hand mobility. I have plenty of friends that don't have hand mobility.
Unbelievable mindset.
Like you've got to maintain that perspective of like I'm incredibly blessed to be injured where I am, to be able to recover some core strength, to have the strength that I have, to be able to have the means to work out, to eat healthy, to be able to have the knowledge and the confidence to continue to educate myself, how to show up better, how to be better for myself. I mean, in reality, I'm incredibly blessed. And that gratitude and recognizing that is what keeps me moving and keeps carrying me, even on my worst days. I don't have it easy. I mean, my bladder is probably my biggest enemy. I pee myself more than I'd like to admit sometimes. And that's the biggest frustration because I know how good I feel if I drink a gallon of water, but I also know how many pull-ups I'm going to go through if I drink a gallon of water. And so it's like, that's a small problem in the big problems of life. And that's what the way I look at it is like my issues and my struggles are actually pretty small. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my stomach. I have a car. Like I don't have that many problems. I just use a wheelchair to get around, which really is a blessing in itself too.
Did it take you a while to get to that mindset?
Kind of. It's peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
You know how life is. You have your highs and you have your lows. The difference is I just don't allow myself to stay in that low for a day, like not even a whole day. It's like, all right, let me cry this out or yell. A lot of times I do yell. I literally will scream out loud, and people probably think I'm nuts
because
I do it. I do it public. I'm just like, I let it out, and I think that's the biggest thing in the moment. If you're frustrated, don't hold it in. Just let it out, but then move on from it. If you can't control it, you cannot allow it to control you. And I can't control my legs. But what do I have control of? I have control of the actions I take each day, the habits I do. I can still educate myself. I can still go to the gym and work out certain parts of my body. I'm still able to do so much. And I think focusing on what I'm still capable of doing has allowed me to recognize I'm still strong. I'm still worthy. I'm still able. Just because I use a wheelchair doesn't make me less able. I do more and work harder than most able-bodied people.
No
so
doubt.
I'm like, come on.
No doubt about it. So I want to get into like my favorite part of the story, the atheist into a strong faith. How long was that process, or was it overnight? What was that like?
That was roller coaster as well. I've known that there's a God. I knew that there was a higher purpose, a bigger reason for everything.
After everything happened.
Correct.
Not beforehand.
Not beforehand, but after everything, like when I was in the hospital and after seeing my grandmother, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's definitely something bigger out there. But I didn't live in that. Mm-hmm. I still had an issue and still do kind of have an issue with organized religion.
There's a difference, and I say this all the time, between religion, Catholicism,
right,
and faith and a relationship.
Huge difference.
One's man-made. One is a gift.
Yes.
They're very different. It's like an organized relationship, like an organized marriage, and like falling in love.
Yes.
Like very different.
So thanks. That's a really good analogy.
Just came up with that.
I love it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There's an awesome church that has really good energy in Mount Holly that I'll attend online. And I used to attend in person, but I don't religiously go every Sunday. But I do every morning read a devotion. That's how I start my day. I mean,
Do the same thing.
right. And it's like, I just know that there's a bigger purpose and put my faith in that. But I really didn't gather that until the pandemic. Early that summer, I had a second family member commit suicide.
Wow.
And it was literally in 2019, May 2019, my niece did. And then June 2020, my cousin did. And so each time when I found out the news, my first feeling was jealousy. And I'm like, I should not be feeling jealousy.
Oh, wow.
Their life is over right now. My life is great. Why do I have this emotion? It was like an uncontrolled emotion of jealousy because they're no longer struggling. They're no longer in pain. And I'm like, there's a huge debate with suicide. Either it's like super commendable or super selfish. And I personally think it's commendable because it's like that person was in so much pain that they were able to end their existence without worrying about anyone else's judgment. And we allow judgment to control so many of our actions. And for once, they chose them. And I think that's very powerful. And so, like, I had this huge just pull, and I'm just like, I don't want to die, but, like, why am I feeling this? And so I really had to get close with God. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand my purpose. I don't understand why I'm here. Please just give me the strength and show me. Please show me. I need you. And when I literally have chills. When I truly gave my entire existence to God and just said, show me what I'm meant to do and why am I here? That's when life started to really, really open up for me. And it just was like, I feel like I'm just constantly hit opportunity after opportunity, just boom, 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 nonstop to this day, because I just give it all to him. I'm like, I don't know, I'm just serving a bigger purpose here. I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do.
Once you found that, do you look at suicide differently now? Because
I definitely don't have the jealousy part of
Right.
it anymore, but I still do think that it's, it's sad that someone's struggling with that much pain. And, the frustrating thing for me is seeing all the family members that are like so sad and I had no idea and upset. And it's like, the signs were probably there, but we
Sure.
are so consumed within ourselves a lot of times, we don't recognize it.
Right. And I think so I view suicide as extremely selfish because God has a purpose and it's
Right.
not up for, like, we can't short circuit his calling. Now, I think that we need to do better in comforting people around us that feel that way. I think, like you said, like the signs were there, and now we're so consumed with ourselves, we don't see that on other people. And then when someone does commit suicide,
We make it about us.
we make it about us, but they all made it about them in that moment as well. So that's why I say that it's selfish. Then, if we're selfish and think about us, then they were selfish and think about them.
Right.
And God doesn't want us to kill ourselves. He doesn't want us to short circuit our life and our purpose. Like, if you killed yourself when you felt like that, you wouldn't be doing all the incredible things that you're doing now. And you just said you found out your purpose.
Right.
And when you were talking to him, which I think is so cool.
But how do we know, and in that aspect too, is like, how do we know that it's not their purpose, that their death's not serving something else for someone else?
Well, I think God can use tragedy for positive, right?
yeah.
So he uses your wreck as a positive, right? It's not what he wants to happen.
Right.
But I don't think he doesn't want someone to kill themselves. Like, I mean, I just even saying it's like, oh
I
no,
know.
don't. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
here
like-
for you. Like, I think if someone said I'm about to kill myself, we'd all rush and be like,
Right.
don't, like, trust me.
But the ones that
it's gonna be
follow through
okay.
don't say that.
Right. And I think that's where we fall short as a society, and individuals like myself or you or whoever's in, around that person would be like, don't do it. I'm here for you. I just didn't know. Like, I was consumed with my own thing. I had no idea. But when you found out your purpose, what was it?
Oh, to help wheelchair users and individuals as a whole, society realize what they're capable of. We sell ourselves short a lot. And that's, the big thing that happened was I had this feeling of like, I need to just sit back and observe more and stop trying to be so interactive and like stop trying to be so, I have to be the one. And so I just kind of took a step back and I'm like, where can I serve? How can I serve? And that's when I found fitness and wheelchair users, is because like my own fitness, I had issues gaining muscle and I wasn't tracking my nutrition. So then I started tracking my nutrition and then I found out, whoa, I'm not even eating enough protein to exist. Like, okay. And so that's where my passion really came, was like helping wheelchair users achieve longevity of independence. This is a lifetime deal. I'm not just gonna pop up one day and be like, all right, we're done. And so your arms and your shoulders aren't meant to be your legs. And we have to take care of them and to make them last for a lifetime. And so I found that through nutrition and fitness. And I'm like, there's nothing out there for fitness for wheelchair users right now. Like there's different classes and everything, but like there's not an app. There's not something that's like in the palm of your hand that you can do at home or in the gym and have a program. And so I have a team, Wheel With Me Fit team, and I'm like, you guys, let's do this thing. Because I don't want to do it alone. That's no fun.
Yeah, having a team is the absolute best of doing anything that's new or anything that's worthwhile in life. Where would you be today if you didn't have that calling, if you didn't find God?
Probably just aimlessly wheeling around.
Do you think you'd be alive?
Yeah. I don't have it in me. I really don't have it in me. I couldn't.
Well,
I
good. First of all, good.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. And I think that's a reason why I feel that it's like, wow, that's powerful to me that someone like has that. That's a powerful thing to do.
Oh, definitely.
Like, you're ending a human life.
Yeah, I don't want to. Anyone that's out there watching,
please don't do it.
To a relatable journey, don't do it. Trust me. There's
so
outlets.
much more. No. Yeah, there's so much more to life.
It's not a hero play. Like that's what I definitely don't want to come across on this podcast right now. It's not a hero play. It's not like when you're gone. That's
gone.
it.
Yeah.
Like your purpose no longer exists.
And it's crazy
and
to
God
think about that.
created you to do something. It wasn't to end your life. I promise you that.
It's suicide is just a crazy thing, and mental health is something that if you're struggling, you should definitely reach out to other people. Reach out and realize that there's people that care about you. And that's what keeps me alive is like, I watched my mom cry. The strongest woman I know. Literally, I've never seen her cry. I watched her cry when I was paralyzed and like, holy crap, what is going to happen? And I could never, ever cause that pain and inflict that pain on my family. And again, I know there's a bigger purpose. Like I know it. I knew it from the beginning, which is why I never did it.
Is it insane to you that it took a wreck like this to like make everything of your life that it is today?
Yeah. Because
when we talked initially, you said there was no doubt. This isn't me saying this. This was you saying this to me that there was no doubt you wouldn't have accomplished 100% of the things in your life without this wreck.
If I didn't get paralyzed, I would not be a quarter of the woman I am today. No way. I was self-centered, materialistic. I had no self-worth, self-love. I think about the person I was before I was injured, and I'm just like, I don't know that person. I am 100% a better human being because of it. I have purpose in life. I get to live a fulfilled life, all because of something so tragic.
That's so funny. She put that in air quotes if you're listening. I mean, that's what's so amazing. And I say this on a relatable journey all the time is we can't connect the dots looking forward. God knows what he's doing. And when we turn around, we can see all the dots connected and we're like, oh my gosh. Like I had no idea that this was the plan. This was the purpose. And then you get so honed in on like, let me never miss what my purpose is every single day. And you get so attached to that. And it feels like that's kind of who you become now.
Yeah. So in the morning, I have a morning routine. I do my daily stoic reading. I journal. I read my devotion. I read my 10 pages of a book. And then I write down my mission in my planner, which my mission is to help as many people as possible realize their capabilities. We truly sell ourselves so short. First of all, as Americans, we have the opportunity.
We're so spoiled.
We have the opportunity to literally, this is the one country you could wake up and decide to be whoever you want to be. You could be whatever you want to be. And hopefully it's something good, but like you literally get to wake up and just do whatever you want to do. And that's what's beautiful about living in the land of the free. Like I feel so blessed to be an American. The more I connect with other people with disabilities across the world, there's an individual, this man sticks out in my mind so much. He's in Africa and their government doesn't provide them wheelchairs. He's been bedbound for 7 years. He was paralyzed the same year as me.
Oh, wow.
Constant infections because his mom can't afford but one catheter a year for the Foley, and it stays in. So he keeps this indwelling catheter in that's supposed to be changed every 30 days for 6 months to a year.
Sounds like we need to get him a wheelchair.
I know.
I have no idea
how to do it.
But I mean, if there's anybody listening or watching this, Let us know how we can get this man in a wheelchair. How did you find out about this guy?
He reached out to me on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
He sent me pictures of like his area, and it's just crazy because you're looking at what this person's living in, and he's still like getting up every day and just trying to make an effort each day, even though he can't get out of the bed. And it's like that is, we are so spoiled here. We get so much, and it's frustrating because the disabled community truly disables ourselves more than we really are. And it's like, the government should give us more. And it's like, no, go work a little harder. Go out and get it yourself. Like, nothing worth having is going to be handed to you. And the sooner that as society, if we can get that through our mind, that is when life becomes rewarding. The harder you work for something, the more rewarding it is. Like, being able to transfer on my own, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
And that means transfer from wheelchair to
Yeah.
Okay. Wheelchair jargon.
Right.
Another question on your transfer from atheism to faith. Because you surround yourself to people, we all do. We surround ourselves with people that are like-minded. So I assume you had probably a handful of atheist friends in your life. What was it like when you had a faith and you're like, so hey guys, you guys need to hear this story. Big time faith person now. What was that conversation, that transition like?
I honestly don't have a lot of the friends I had before I was injured. I was a really, not a really good person. And the type of people, the company that I kept also weren't really good people.
Was that tough for you? Because
No.
it's usually like, hey, day one, ride or die, as they say.
No,
So
it
was easy.
wasn't. No, my whole life changed. I mean, not only did I lose the ability to walk, I lost bowel and bladder control. I had to wear I was now an adult wearing diapers. Like, it was a lot changed. And then my whole view of myself changed. I had to go on a personal journey and really figure out who I was, what I wanted, and where I wanted to go. Now I do surround myself with people that are faith-based or goal-oriented and driven. And usually people that are chasing after things are faith-based too. And I don't know why that is, but
Weird. Final question for you. If you could tell anybody that's listening or watching a Relatable Journey right now, what do you want them to take away from your journey?
don't wait for something negative to happen to you or a tragedy, whether that's loss of a job, homelessness, loss of a loved one. Don't wait for that moment to start living your life. And if that moment does come, use it for your opportunity. There is opportunity in our struggles, even though we don't want to see it in the moment. And we want to just relish in it and kind of fold. Don't fold, because there's so much more that can come from that tragedy that makes it a blessing. There's not a day that goes by I would ever undo getting paralyzed. I think that it is the greatest thing that could have happened to me. It's given me way more than it ever could have taken away.
Like the Lord says, don't be thankful for everything as much as you need to be thankful in everything. No matter what the season is, no matter what you're going through, be thankful in it. You don't have to be thankful for your struggles, but be thankful in it. But it's amazing to be thankful for your, quote, struggles as well, though.
Again, it made me who I am today, for sure. And I wouldn't be not even a quarter of the person that I get to be.
What an incredible journey. What an amazing story to hear. I think the most powerful thing for me, obviously going atheist into faith-driven is powerful, but your self-worth and becoming an entirely new person, becoming truly reborn again, and that journey is so powerful and so cool to hear. And the fact that you recognize it versus someone kind of telling you like, hey, no, trust me. And you're like, I don't know. You recognizing it, owning it is the coolest thing to me.
Oh, we have to realize that, like, just because you perceive the world a certain way or perceive your situation a certain way doesn't mean that's the truth. You gotta check yourself. You gotta check in with your perspective.
Facts are facts. Facts don't have feelings, right?
Right. And like, is it your perspective that's limiting you, or is it your situation? And a lot of time it's your perspective. And that's what I have this conversation often, because it's like we disable ourselves a lot more than we are, because we see ourselves as disabled, and when you break that stigma and break that perspective within yourself, that's when you see the world a lot different.
Jesi, you're the best. Thank you for coming on a Relatable Journey.
Thank you so much for having me. And if you guys gain value from today's episode, please, please, please share it with a friend directly so that they can have the same impact that you gained.
Best.